Welcome to Cinemonika.
Probably has better cooking skills than me, just saying. But it's fine. Today I'm talking about those movies that are just so simple, that have just a couple of characters, not a lot of locations, and that when you're done watching them, you think to yourself, nothing really happened in that movie. But you still feel like it was a great movie, you had a great time. I love those types of movies. They're probably one of my favorite genres. I don't know if it's a genre, but it's a type of movie that I really, really enjoyed. They're just very chill. A lot of them are just more like character studies or certain characters just getting to know each other. I actually made a little video on Instagram and on TikTok about these types of movies. Let me tell you, it was a controversial post. A lot of people were coming at me saying, things happen in those movies, how can you say nothing happens? And I'm like, of course. Even though I say that nothing happens in these movies, what I'm basically saying is that these movies don't necessarily follow the common story structure of other movies. It's not full of action and things like that, okay? That's what I'm basically saying. Let's start with, the queen herself of these types of movies. A movie that I've talked about extensively. I never get tired of watching it, even though it's just two people talking for the entirety of the movie. It's like dialogue, just dialogue, and them just walking around. Pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, right? Before Sunrise. As most of you know, Before Sunrise is part of a trilogy: Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. In this movie, Jesse and Celine meet in a train. She's French, he's American, and they both have to go their separate ways. But they really hit it off on the train and they decide to spend the entire day together until they have to separate the next day. So that entire day, they just spend it walking around in Vienna and talking, getting to know each other, getting to know each other's minds, what they think about certain things. I feel like a lot of people really long for something like this to happen to them, like meeting someone on a train and getting along so well that you want to spend the entire day together, getting to know each other, just walking around in a beautiful city. A lot of people probably want that to happen to themselves, so I think that's really the appeal of this movie, as well as their conversations. They're really, really interesting. They're just like normal conversations between two people, so there's nothing that happens where you're like, oh my god, that would never happen to me. No, this movie could literally happen to you. PSA though, don't just go with any stranger you meet on a train and spend the entire day with them, because you never know what could happen. I wouldn't do that. In an imaginary world where there's no bad people, I would totally do that. I guess. Nothing really happens in it, but it's one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It's one of my favorite movies. If you still haven't watched it, you definitely should, as well as the other two movies in the trilogy. Perfect. Moving on to another romantic movie, and it's In the Mood for Love. In the Mood for Love, directed by Wong Kar-wai. It's a movie that is just so incredibly beautiful. It's about this woman and this man who both have spouses, but they are not receiving what they want from them. They feel kind of neglected and lonely. They end up bonding over that and then, of course, falling in love with each other. This movie really encompasses what it is like to yearn for someone, to really want someone to love you. It is so beautiful. The cinematography, the color palette, the costumes, everything that she wears in the movie is absolutely gorgeous. In this movie, they basically just spend time together, getting to know each other, talking about their spouses and how they are feeling and things like that. It's very similar to Before Sunrise in the sense of it's just two people, having dialogues, getting to know each other. Everything about it just makes you want to fall in love, It makes you want to be with someone. It makes you long for that type of love, I think. My absolute favorite romantic movies are these types of movies. Before Sunrise, In the Mood for Love, where it's just two people getting to know each other. It's beautiful. Give me more. Please let me know of more movies like this in the comments. The next one is Columbus, another movie I've talked about a lot because I love it. I just love it so much. It's not romantic. It's not a romantic relationship. It's more of a friendship that they have. This girl and this man. The entire movie is just them bonding, them, talking to each other about their problems, kind of just having someone to listen to them, to just a shoulder to cry on or a ear. They support each other in that way. The movie itself is beautiful. It's a really, really slow movie. The shots just linger. There's a lot of wide shots and just very little movement of the camera. It's like still photographs, kind of. I love Kogonada. I love his style of filmmaking. It's absolutely beautiful. The next movie I'm talking about is House of Hummingbird. I don't know if I've talked about this movie in my videos already. This one is a Korean movie about a girl who is very misunderstood. She hates her family life. Her family life is kind of abusive. Her school life, she really doesn't like school. Pretty much is a coming of age. Throughout the movie, we just see her kind of interacting with her surroundings, interacting with her family, and ultimately befriending this teacher who is the only teacher that she really likes. The movie is about her and her feelings and her trying to navigate her life in this exact moment, you know. I don't know, it's a great coming of age. I feel like if you really like coming of age stories, if you're looking for a new one to watch, I definitely recommend House of Hummingbird. The next one is Paterson. Paterson stars Adam Driver. He's a driver. He's a bus driver who also spends a lot of his time just writing poetry. You might say that he goes through life kind of idle. Even though he writes poetry, he doesn't really have a lot of ambition or a lot of personality even. You just see him going through life. To be honest, I feel like this movie might be kind of boring for a lot of people just because, I mean, that's the topic of this video. Nothing really happens. But if you like to see just the life of a character, the life of one person, then this is perfect. Not every single movie character has to be this super interesting person who suddenly becomes a hero overnight or whatever. Sometimes you just want to watch other normal people, and that's what Paterson is. The next one is Come On, Come On. This is a movie that I feel like was very overlooked. Maybe it's because A24 has been releasing a lot of movies lately. Come On, Come On is about a man who is making a documentary while also taking care of his nephew. We basically see him and his nephew bond. His nephew starts helping him with his documentary. It's just super, super sweet. We see their relationship grow. We see them have fun with each other, and it's just such a cute movie. It's really, really a feel-good movie. It is in black and white, so I feel like a lot of people might think it's like a super serious movie, you know? I love it. I love it so much. I finished watching it and I was just smiling ear to ear. The next one is a movie I watched very recently on a plane, and it's called The Humans. This movie is a really weird one because it's about this family who is getting together for Thanksgiving. The entire movie is literally just that one Thanksgiving day. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. The family just talks and talks and talks with each other. I almost feel like this is a documentary because it's truly like such a fly on the wall type of movie. But the interesting thing about this movie is that it's almost scary. There's always something that is very dark and kind of sinister about it. You just feel uneasy when you're watching this movie. It's not necessarily a feel-good movie, but it's definitely a movie where nothing happens. It's very, very interesting. I don't think I had seen a movie like that ever. The next one, this was a big cause for controversy on my Instagram comments. My Neighbor Totoro. I love My Neighbor Totoro. I mean, look, that's my neighbor right there. I love that movie. They move into the countryside. They play around in the house. They find this, forest creature named Totoro. They play with him. They grow a tree and they go into the cat bus, and a lot of things technically do happen. There's really no conflict. A lot of people would say that the mom, in the hospital and stuff is the conflict. Probably that's the reason why they're, kind of escaping the real world with Totoro. This is definitely a slice of life movie. I absolutely love it. I think it's perfect for kids as well as adults because, like I said, there's things going on in the movie that are very heavy and very sad that adults can understand, but then the movie itself is just so fun and light and cute for little kids to enjoy. Let's move on to Lost in Translation. This movie, I recently rewatched it on a plane, and you know what? I hadn't watched it in a really, really long time. I really like Sofia Coppola's filmmaking style, but I must say, I did find it a little bit disappointing how they treated the Japanese characters in this movie upon my rewatch. I do think they were very stereotypically, what an American person would think of Japan like 30 years ago. Of course, I know that Bill Murray's character in this movie is supposed to think like that. He's supposed to be an ignorant, tired man. I was still waiting for them to kind of make him reevaluate what he thinks of Japan and the culture. But anyways, that part I didn't enjoy about the movie, but I do think it fits perfectly into the nothing really happens category because of, again, these two people just getting to know each other over a common feeling, that feeling of loneliness, that feeling of, you know, not really having anyone to talk to, not even their closest people, you know, their spouses. I like that they bonded over that. The movie is just them talking and bonding, basically. So that's why I think it fits. But, you know, like I said, if you do watch it, be wary of the things that I said. I mean, you can definitely watch it and form your own opinion on it. With that said, I do really like the cinematography. I think it's beautiful. The next movie is Boyhood. I'm sure you've heard about this movie. This movie was filmed over 12 years with the same actors. The film started when the main character was like, I want to say like 7 years old. I'm not too sure, but he was a little kid. And then they just kept filming over the years until he reached, I want to say like 20 or something like that. I am actually embarrassed and ashamed to say that I waited so long to watch this movie. I just don't know why I never, you know, made the time to watch it until I was on a plane the other day. This movie, I love this movie. I loved it so much. That's why I'm so ashamed that I waited so long to watch it. We literally see this kid and his family grow up, go through the problems of life. I felt incredibly related to this character just because I think he's my same age. I'm not sure, but everything that he like played with when he was a little kid and a teenager growing up, all of the technology, the Game Boys, all that stuff was what I was playing with when I was his age. So I think that we might be the same age. It was just a perfect like time capsule, nostalgic movie for me. I really was invested in the life of these characters, not only the main character but also the mom, the sister. It was just a really normal family, a normal kid. It's literally a slice of life movie. Nothing really major happens. There's not really a conflict or anything like that. We just see the life of this family. I loved it. Honestly, I think it's one of my favorite movies now. I want that movie to be put in a time capsule, to be opened like by people 200 years from now or by aliens. I don't know. I just want them to see it also. And the last movie I'm gonna talk about is a movie I literally just watched yesterday, and it's Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. That's a tongue twister for me. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. This is a stop motion movie about a guy who is making a documentary about this little shell that has life. He's trying to find his shell family. A lot of the movie is just us getting to know Marcel and how he lives with his grandmother Connie, who is another shell. And it's honestly the most adorable movie I've ever seen in my life. I wouldn't say it fits perfectly into the nothing happens category because I do think that this one's a little different from all of the other movies I've mentioned, but I guess maybe I just wanted to talk about it because I just watched it and I loved it. And it did have that feel of feel-good slice of life type of movie. I did cry though. It's also very deep. It's like Arietti from Studio Ghibli, but with a little shell instead of little people. Honestly, I'm obsessed with like miniatures, little tiny little things. I love watching those miniature cooking videos and just videos of people that make miniature sets and things like that. I love that stuff. So I think this movie really like scratched my brain in a really good way. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if it fits this list, but you should still watch it. You definitely should watch it, okay? Anyways, I just wanted to talk about Marcel. He's so cute. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you agree or disagree with my choices. Please be respectful. A lot of people already came for me on Instagram, so, you know, I don't need to hear that again. Also, if you have more movies that would fit slice of life, nothing really happens, but the movie has great vibes, then definitely let me know in the comments because, like I said, I love these types of movies, so the more movies I watch that are like this, the better. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing and commenting, all that stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.